What's happening, everybody? It is a special Tuesday night edition of Thrifty Business with Jay and Nay. I'm your one host, Vegas Jay. And I don't hear Philly Nay at all.
It would help if I took my mute button off. Yes, I'm Philly Nay with noisy kids in the background, so I hit my mute button.
All right, I just realized the other computer's controlling the thing tonight. All right, cool. All right, what's happening, everybody? I got to work off it down here. All right, so hey, real quick, let's say hi to our guest, and then I'm going to tie in like I always try to do. So our guest tonight is Shannon Paasch, and she knew her name is spelled a little weird. It is Paasch, and I said, how do you say it? And she goes, just like Posh Spice. So I know that all too well, so that was a good reference.
Very good.
All right, cool. But let's get right into... Oh, I forgot. I got the other computer now. Here we go. Come on. Oh, that was sad. It's like a gong way in the distance. Let's try again. Much better. All right. So tonight is Shannon, and Shannon is from Seattle. And so I was going to grab a green mug for the Emerald City. And then my wife reminded me of a mug we had. So in honor of Pike's Place Market, where they throw the fish, if anyone's ever seen that, I have this rotten fish tiki mug. It's called Stinkfish. Okay. So, in honor of the fish left over at the end of the day at Pike's Place, I take a sip to Seattle.
Isn't Pike's Place also the home of the first Starbucks?
Yeah. And then Bridget, one of the lifeguards from the thrifting board, sent me this new rum. This is batch number 1. So it's such a small rum that I got batch number 1. And it's from Holly Hill, Florida. This is Copper Bottom Silver Rum. And it's very yummy. So thank you, Bridget Brenda. All right, so we're going to say adieu to Shannon for a little bit here.
Goodbye.
I hope. Let me see. Maybe not. All right, cool. We had a little technical difficulties right before we started. Oh, what in the world? And they're still playing havoc with me. Oh, you know what? I don't know if I can mute you, Shannon, because you're on a tablet. It always. So just hang tight, enjoy the show, and we'll talk to you in a little bit. All right, cool. So let's get to. Oh, and by the way, Tiki mug made by Monk Tiki. I've talked about Monk Tiki many, many times. They're great mugs to sell. They're always limited edition, small numbers. This one's number 10 of 100. So keep your eyes open for Monk Tiki. All right, now it's time for... I'm so angry tonight. Technical difficulties, yay. Time for Nay's breast cancer update and fact of the week.
So I will just say cancer sucks, and then we can move on. I'm kidding, but it does. No, I'm hanging in there. I'm having some insurance issues, and I'm having some other little hiccups, possibly bumps in the road. But my December 1st surgery is canceled for medical reasons, which I will explain further down the road when I find out something to find out. And my fact of the week is going to be a positive one, that there are over 2.8 million breast cancer survivors alive in the United States today. So I won't talk about death today. We'll talk about survivors.
Yay! So you'll probably heard a little clapping and a yay. So I forgot to mention that I have an studio. We have a studio audience tonight of one. So let's, there she is.
Yay, Robin.
Our friend Robin Haas has come down for the holidays, and so she sat in tonight. And so if you hear some yays or some applause or boos or whatever, that's who you're hearing tonight. So All right, cool. Well, hugs to you, Nadine.
Thank you.
All right, let's get to it, shall we?
Yes, right into our scores.
It's time for our scores of the week.
Whoop, whoop.
We got live sound effects going on now. Whoop, whoop. This is crazy. All right, let's get our scores up. No, those are Shannon's scores. So, there's Nadine's scores. All right, bear with me one quick sec here, and we will have our scores up. I think I see some pantyhose coming.
Yeah, we have pantyhose. The assortment.
There we go. Okay, there you go.
Okay, so yeah, so vintage pantyhose. I always say that buy them. They do sell. I've sold them up to like $35 for one pair. So these, I mean, $16 for a pair of pantyhose that I paid $1 for at the thrift. Sometimes I get them in bags with, they're allotted for $1 or $2. So that is a really good, that's a good profit for when you think about it. And they're really easy to ship. So pick up your vintage pantyhose. And this was Japanese wool. I always talk about yarn and I talk about natural fibers. And this is hand spun wool, and it was a lot. I lot my yarns according to type or brand, or I had 3 oddballs in this particular same style, this Curion yarn. So I lotted those 3 up together, and they sold for $29.99 with free shipping. They go first class, really easy to ship. So, and there we go. Vintage nylon panties. I bought these in Chicago, actually, at the Salvation Army there. And I bought them for 99 cents a piece, I think. And I sold the 2 together. They were the same size, sealed, 70s, new in package, $34.99 free shipping. So.
And you can see they were originally $2.75.
Yes,
brand new.
And on items like that, I might add on vintage items like that, if you have an original price tag. Now, if you have a Goodwill price tag or a current price tag that's going to be less than what you're selling it for, by all means remove those. But vintage price tags, it's okay to leave those on because the buyers do have an understanding of inflation. And it's kind of, a lot of these things are bought as collector's items, and the price tags actually add to the value of it. So
good tip.
And these are Dansko clogs. Now, I did add vegan in these because these are vegan clogs, and I'm vegan, but I always do that when, that's another tip, when shoes do not contain any leather or animal products, because vegans will search for that. So that's another little tip there. I had these up for $50, but they sat for a while, and they're kind of, more on the summery side now. Of course, it is summer somewhere on the earth, but I took an offer of $30. My Dansko sales have kind of slowed down a little, so I think that was fair, and they're easy to ship, so not bad.
All right, so I sold this. This is a Tiki decanter, and that little ribbon in his hair is the cork that pops out. And I think I have a shot. There we go. And he was missing. There's also a little stopper that goes in the top of his head, right in that small hole in the front. He was missing the stopper, so I did explain that. And the cork, somebody at the thrift store actually broke the cork. So a customer broke the cork, and they put it behind the counter, and I said, "Hey, what's that?" And they showed me. I go, "Well, I want it." "Well, the cork's broke." "Well, how much did we sell it to me for?" $2. "Okay." So I fixed the cork. That wasn't hard. And I sold it for $75 this week. So, a little super glue can go a long, long way. I picked up these T-shirts. You probably saw it on the haul from last year. This is from Virgin America Airlines. And this is a Christmas wreath of all the airports they fly to. And I had 2 the same size. I couldn't find other sold, so I had nothing to gauge to offer. So I thought, what the hell? I'll try them at $49.99. Customer offered me $25 and wanted both of them. So he offered me $50 for the pair. I paid $2 a piece. And so I was happy to let them go. So they're on their way today, actually. And if you saw our haul last week, this is from the by the pound haul. This purse was 67 cents, and I sold it within 3 days for $29. And it's a really, there's nothing to this purse. It weighed about 3 ounces. So it's just a really small, light purse. But, the by the pound store can yield some nice results. And
Awesome.
I should have one more. Where the heck? That's you, right?
That's a dud, yeah.
Yeah, there it is. Sorry.
Okay.
So I
Ooh.
sold this Disney Tarzan rotating snow globe that plays a Phil Collins song. So all kinds of good keywords. But I sold it. I think I picked it up for $12. I sold it for $75. A little shipping tip, because it moves, and even if it's jostled around while it's in the packaging, I didn't want it to move. So we stuffed tissue paper around the perimeter so it really wouldn't have a chance to move before we wrap the whole thing in bubble wrap. So that was a little bonus shipping tip, if you will.
So there's a good point to use tissue paper, unlike when I sent you your item.
Yeah, that's a good use of tissue paper. All right, now it is time for our duds of the week. Not everything can be a winner, and let our mistakes not be yours. So as you got a quick preview of Nadine's first dud.
Okay. So that John Deere Tractors mug looks like it would be a score of $28.99 for a simple mug that can go FOMO, right? No, the post office actually made this a dud for me. But yeah, so they lost the first one that I shipped out to the customer, and he was a newer seller, so he wasn't communicating through the messages. I kept sending him messages saying, I'm sorry, I opened a case at the post office. It seems like, and I'm having a little bit of an issue with my local post office not scanning, so I thought maybe it would show up once it got, no, nothing. It just fell off the grid. There's still a case open for it. I don't think I'm ever gonna find it. So I bought the same mug from another seller who was unwilling to ship it right to my buyer. So that caused me more headaches. So I ended up, once I got the mug, I sent it right to him. And I actually, the second mug also fell off the grid. No scan, no initial scan. And I'm thinking, I'm panicking. And my buyer's saying, I don't, he's all upset. He had opened a case by then. And I'm saying, I sent the second mug and here's the tracking, and the tracking's showing nothing. Well, it finally did show up. There were no scans in Philadelphia on the second mug too. It finally showed up. I think he was in Florida. It finally showed up, the first scan in Florida, and I breathed a sigh of relief, and he did get it. But, and I did have a happy buyer in the end. But it was, no. Actually, he did get it, and it did all work out finally, but it was just such a mess that it ended up, the post office turned that one into a big whopping dud for me. And this one, actually, Jay, do you remember this one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you took that picture. So when Jason was here, like, what was that, like 2 years ago, I think, you helped me list some things and took some pictures, and that mug still hasn't sold. And I was hoping, maybe now, because it's, lots of good keywords and it's Christmas, and I thought maybe now it would sell, but it's still not going anywhere. So if it doesn't sell after Christmas, I think I'll be taking it down and either putting it on sale or just donating it.
By the way, you're about to have a visitor, so I'll move on to my dud.
Yep.
And this, we have always told you that ink can sell for a good amount of money. This is not one of them, and I misjudged my shipping price based on the weight. So, I think I only made like $2 on this cartridge. So at least I didn't lose. But a little tip, these boxes are really heavy and sturdy, so you can just slap the label around that box and away it goes. You don't need to, it's not a collectible. You don't need to put it in a box. That person's going to tear it open and throw the ink in their printer, so don't worry about that. Although my other dud, I actually said during the haul that I would show you guys my other dud this week, this beautiful Mitchell & Ness hat that looks like it's a score, Chicago Bulls. Here's when I realized it was a dud, but when I got home. That is supposed to say Mitchell & Ness right there, not just a straight line. Somehow all the stitching has gone bye-bye. And not only that, there's a hole in it, right? I don't know if you're going to be able to see it right there. There's a little hole in it too. So my beautiful hat went from a score to a dud in the matter of turning it from front to back. But I didn't do that in the store. I did that when I got home. So boo. That is my other dud. All right, now it is time for yeah, there we go. Sorry about that. Time for Close Encounters of the Thrifty kind. And mine actually revolves around the thrift class that Nadine and I taught in Chicago during Ecom Chicago. So we were in the sports coach section, and I told everyone to things to look for in the sport coat section. And one of the things I say to look for the hipsters love to wear the 1970s sports coats. And I mentioned a bunch of brands, a bunch of famous people who had lines. Johnny Carson is one, Jack Nicklaus is one, Joe Namath is one. And so I was explaining that these coats are desired by the hipsters of like Brooklyn and stuff. So I finished in the sport coat section, and I handed everyone off to Nadine to go do dresses. And I happened to look at my phone, and I think at the exact second I said the words Joe Namath, I sold the Joe Namath sports coat that was in my store. So here it is. That was the sports coat I sold. And I'm like, that is crazy. Then later, we're at lunch. Oops. I'm not showing the sports coat. There we go. There it is. Sorry about that. Later, we're at lunch. And one of the other things I mentioned was make sure to always keep your eye open for custom tailored jackets for sports figures. Matter of fact, I have one from Gilbert Arenas, who was a basketball player, but he's not playing anymore. But he's in the news because he keeps fighting with his wife. The next day, I get an offer on my Gilbert Arenas coat. And both these coats are in my store for quite a while. But the fact that I mentioned them made them sell. So that is my Thrifty Encounter for this week. You are on mute again. You're usually pretty good at riding the mute. Nope, don't hear you. Fix your mute, please. So while Nadine, there we go.
You can hear me now? Okay.
Yeah, yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. So yes, I'm sorry about that. It's earlier for me tonight, so it's prime kid crazy time, so I apologize about all the craziness going on here. Okay. So my thrifty encounter started with this gentleman that you can see. I didn't want to take a full on obvious shot of him, but he was an older gentleman. He's standing there behind the plates, and he offered me, I just went in kind of like just to kill some time and stuff, and I didn't really intend to buy much. So I ended up having like an armful of stuff, and he had an empty cart. He said, "Here, take my cart." And in my Goodwill, carts are very, very uncommon. They're hard to find. They're not very plentiful. So it was a very nice gesture, and I thanked him profusely. And then when I returned the corner, my eye caught something that was actually, yeah, there's the next, that was what I had in my hands when he gave me his cart. And there's a Lily Pulitzer dress in there. There's another top. There's some hair extensions, which I'll talk about in the future. I think they're going to do really well. And there's a vintage tray in there. So anyway, so then I looked to my left, and I could not believe my eyes. I saw all of these Hallmark ornaments, but they weren't just Hallmark ornaments. They were Hallmark ornaments that were selling for these are all going for between $20 and well over $100. A lot of them are exclusive collectors club ornaments. So, and they were all priced at $199 and $299. And I was just like, I looked.
You should have paused, and they were priced at.
Yeah.
Dramatic pause.
Yeah, $199 and $299. So my cart, that cart that guy gave me was now full. And the funny thing is, people were coming up and they were getting mad because I had just gotten them after they got put out. And one guy was like, "You're going to buy all of them?" And I was like, "Well, I found them, So, and then people were trying to pick my cart. So the guy that gave me his cart came over, and he was like, "Hey, that's this young lady's cart. You're taking out, don't take out of her cart. This is her cart." So he came over and ended up defending me, which was really sweet. And so I got all of those Hallmark ornaments, which I just started looking up today. One of them I looked up today. The only competition is over $100, like $130. So they're most of them are going to do really well. Anyway, so then I go back to see if there's any more that were put out. And yes, there were, but Goodwill caught on. They, over the $1.99 price tags, they put $12.99 price tags. So I did not buy anymore because all of the good ones, or the ones I looked up even at $12.99, a lot of them were just going for like $20. And then they priced all the smaller ones. They put blue price tags over the $1.99 stickers for $5.99. So I did not buy anymore. But so I think I killed the Hallmark pricing at my Goodwill.
Yeah, you think?
Yeah, I think I kind of damaged that. So.
All right, we've done our close encounters. Now it is time for, there it is, our thrifty tips of the week. And mine is pretty simple one. Make friends with the people at your thrift store. I don't think I've told this tip, but if I have, then I'll just plead old age. So if you make good friends with your thrift store employees, one day I asked one of my friends, I said, hey, you must get adult books donated. She goes, yeah. I go, I never see any. She goes, yeah, we're not allowed to put them out. Like, can I buy them? She goes, yeah, I can hold them for you back here, and then I'll just give them to you. So every time I walk by, I'm like, and so I got this one, this awesome pinup book. And it's just at the regular, price of, I think their books at Savers like $1.29, and then buy $4 to get the fifth one free. So it's a lot of old art of pinups and stuff. But just make friends, and then you can get the cool stuff that they can't put out. Okay. Okay.
So my tip is to look, if you have a bin of items, like a big, huge, deep bin like my Goodwill has, look for the things that pop out, like the crazy prints. Now, that Lily Pulitzer was on the bottom, and it was just kind of among, up on the right there, that was just kind of among everything else. But immediately, bam, that print popped out to me, so I grabbed it. So just look, if you have an assortment of things like that, just look out for the unusual and the interesting prints.
It's a nice little haul of purses you got there.
Oh, that's the Goodwill bin. I only got that one Lily purse there.
Oh. I thought you just like scooped them all up. You're like, these are all mine.
No, that's not my haul. That's I just got the one Lily Pulitzer. I took a picture of the Goodwill bin that it was in.
Oh, my bad. Alrighty, now it is time for You Have Got to Be Shipping Me, where Renee and I offer you tips on shipping, what to do, what not to do. And this segment is brought to you by Bubble Fast, a family-owned business providing quality shipping supplies to the online community since 1999. Bubble Fast, the internet's home to shipping supplies. And don't forget, if you check out a Bubble Fast and plug in J&Nay, J-A-Y-A-N-D-N-A-Y, you get 10% off your entire order. All right, I think I'm on the screen. Yeah. Okay, so speaking of Bubble Fast, this is a Bubble Fast product. This is called the Scotty Stuffer, and this box was built to fit exactly into a padded flat rate envelope. And you might think, hey, Jay, I think we've talked about this before. Yeah, that's not actually my tip. But today I had to use this box for a glass ornament that I was shipping. But here's my tip. This is a padded flat rate. So whatever you can fit in here goes for the same price. So not only should you use this little box to put your thing in, then shore it up and make it a little stronger. Get 2 pieces of cardboard that are the same width as the top and the bottom of the box. Stick it in there, and now it is extra rigid. So there's the top, there's the bottom. Now it is even stronger. And don't forget, you can do that on your medium flat rates, your large flat rates. Fill that box up. It's the same price no matter what. So throw that extra cardboard there and make it stronger. There you go.
Awesome. So my shipping tip has to do with delicate buttons on shirts and blouses and women's clothing and men's clothing. So there's an example of, that's a St. John top, and it's got, see those pearl buttons? Those are delicate and they can crack in shipping. So there, I will show you, the next pictures are actually of an item that was shipped to me, and it was shipped to me with the buttons on just like that on the outside. So that's what not to do. What you should do, and the only thing you need to do is to in the next picture, you'll see that they're just turned in. They're just folded in. That's all you need to do. Fold them into the fabric so that protects them. You don't need bubble wrap. You don't need, the fabric itself will pad them, but don't turn it. Don't fold it so that those delicate buttons are on the top of your item. So there you go. That's the only thing you need to do is to protect it. The fabric will cushion it. So
easy peasy.
Mm-hmm.
Easy peasy. All right, now it is time for our viewers' 2-minute topic of the week. And this week it was shared by Mary Okupniak. That sounds pretty close.
Sounds pretty, I think it's kind of close, yeah.
Do you share your listings on Facebook, Twitter, or any other social media sites? And if you do, does it help? All right, because of our technical difficulty before, I cannot share the screen like I usually do. So I'm going to do it just down here. I'm going to hold it. I'm going to old school it.
Old school it. Love it. Okay.
All right. So you are off and running.
Okay. Yes, I absolutely do. And I have to get back on Twitter. I don't really share on Facebook too much. I do have a Facebook business page that maybe I should get back up and running, but that's on like the bottom of my million things, of my list of million things to do. I do share almost daily on Pinterest. I try to share daily. And I will suggest that anybody that isn't sharing does participate in our thrifting board social media thread, because that's a great way to get your items out there on social media, and you reciprocate by sharing other people's items as well. So it's a great tool to use. So I would suggest that. And as far as Twitter, I would like to get my Twitter account back up and running. I was doing that every day. I was sending out a tweet. You can actually schedule tweets too. So yes, it does help sell. It helps your items to get exposed, and I do suggest doing it. I guess I came in a little short.
Yeah, you sure did. And then there was silence. All right. Okay, so I get so busy that I run out of time to do it. But when I do have time to do it, here's the key. A lot of people don't do it correctly, I feel. They just share something on Twitter. So whether you're doing it for yourself or you're doing it within the thrifting board social media share thread, try and make it creative. I love when I share things that have a cool brand or a cool topic, and it's the hashtags that will get you noticed. So if you are sharing an item that is a brand, say like, I don't know, Coca-Cola or something, make sure you do at Coca-Cola. You might luck out. They might pick it up. They might push it out to their followers too. But you got to be crafty and you got to be cool about it. You can't just be like, check this out. You got to create, in those 140 characters, you got to create a fun little post, do a couple hashtags, and because you got the link in there too, so you got to say some things about it. But make sure that maybe your tweet will go viral, and that's the whole key to making sure your stuff gets seen. It doesn't always work, but if it does, you'll be really happy it did.
Awesome. Engaging content, really.
Yep. Okay, and then we have a rotating topic each week. And this week it is the Lifesavers Merit Badge. Where is my... There it is. So speaking of the Thrifting Board, that is the Facebook group that I own and run, and with the help of Nadine and all the rest of the lifeguards. And our Lifesaver Merit Badge goes to a post that really shares the values that we try and teach people, and a post that helps others to see how good things can be. So let me get me on here. There we go. And let's now share that. There we go.
Yeah, so this.
There we go.
Okay, got it. So, do you want me to take it, Jay?
Yeah, go ahead. Start.
Okay, so she had, I'm sorry, it's actually, he had sold something, and he said, this is from Chad Rohr, and he said, this is why we do this, and it really puts the heart into selling, and eBay, has, you do get to interact with your customers sometimes, and you have nice stories like this, so this is kind of a warm and fuzzy thing, and it shows that, there's a person on the other end of your sale. So anyway, she said that she had purchased the blanket. She's now 40, and it was her security blanket, and she never slept a night without it. She almost didn't recognize the listing because hers was so faded with age. And when she was 15, she lost hers at a overseas hotel. So she was crushed. She thought she lost it forever, but her family joked that she would be buried with it over the years. So she said she combed through eBay for a vintage replacement, but she never found one. So she was ecstatic when she saw Chad's listing, and she was amazed that it was in such good condition. And she was just thrilled. So there was a nice warm and fuzzy story of why we do this. And some of the comments were, shared some similar stories. And
if you see, this was just yesterday at 2:09 p.m., so a little over 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time that Nate took these screenshots, it had 334 likes, 332 likes already. And that's just the power of the group. We always talk best practices, treat the customer with respect, always believe your customer, take care of them, stop worrying about yourself, worry about your customer. And this post spawned that, other warm and fuzzy stories. And that's just great, because a lot of times what we do is kind of a lonely business. But to share these stories that we all have had those customers, and I've had them too,
mm-hmm.
where they wrote back to you. You don't ever expect a customer to write back, but when they do, especially when it's a story like that, it's really touching. And just us being thrifters and knocking around a thrift store and doing our thing really made someone's life. Now, if we're selling commodities like extra toilet paper or socks, you're probably not going to get that, but every once in a while, and sometimes it's not even an item that you think about. Maybe this was someone's favorite coffee juice mug, and just because I listed it, now they're complete with their childhood. So the replies went on, and this was a vintage Winnie the Pooh Tigger blanket. So it was a very specific thing that was easy to search for, but it was just so nice to see. I see a lot of negativity online, and it was so nice to see warm fuzzies. That just makes my day. And as you can see, it made 332 people's day too. So
yeah.
So thanks, Chad. I don't know if you normally watch the show, but thank you for watching, or for posting that, and thanks to everyone for participating and sharing their stories, because that's what makes it all worthwhile.
Absolutely. That was like my songbook buyer last week that I mentioned, that her husband, it was their marriage song, and it was so touching. It made me feel great,
Yep. All right. Now it's time to get our guest in here, and let's get Shannon Paasch in here, the Recycle-ista. What's happening, Shannon?
Hi, Shannon.
All right. Now she's muted, and that's not from my end. So let me see if I can figure this out. Hey, Shannon. Shannon, if you see, you're on a tablet. I don't know what you see. I don't know why we don't hear you. Oh, wait, I got an idea.
Okay.
Talk, Shannon.
Oh,
I'm talking.
All right. Somehow your volume got turned down, but I didn't do that. But,
okay.
Hey, thanks, YouTube. That's cool.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here.
Well, thank you for joining us tonight. And Shannon's been in our groups for a long time, and always been a good participant, and is a blogger, about vintage items mainly, and also loves to sell on Etsy. So all those things combined made for a great guest, because I could talk about vintage stuff all day long, but we have not talked about blogging. Like, what Nay and I do for the most part is vlogging, which is video blogs. And Shannon's old school. She types.
Mm-hmm.
If she could if she could write and then send them all out, but you'd do that too, huh?
When I first started blogging, there was a lot more vintage blogs out there, and it was kind of like a little community, kind of like what you've made it with the thrifting board. So there'd be different link parties where you would share your thrifting finds, and you would link to your own blog post, and so everybody would read each other's blogs and things like that. So things have kind of moved over more to social media, and so there are a lot less vintage blogs I've noticed out there. But I don't know, I just keep plugging along. I've almost given it up like 3 times, but I just there are people that follow me there that aren't on social media at all, and so it's kind of fun to have a different place to have some interaction as well.
So that actually leads me to my first question. So when Nay and I are doing the show, like right now, I can see we got 83 live viewers. So thank you everyone who tuned in live. I know it's an early time on an odd day. How do you know the kind of traffic? Do you see the reports of like the web traffic, or is there like is there, I didn't even notice, is there a guest book to sign in? Like, hey Shannon, I've been here.
Well, I don't, yeah, you don't really see specifically who the people are unless they comment. But when I started off, I was on Blogger, and then recently I switched over to WordPress. So they have statistics. You can see like where people come from, because I'll put a lot of informational posts in my, you know, in my blog. And so someone might search how to test for Bakelite on Google, and I can see what they searched and that they ended up on my blog, you know, from that search. A lot of people, I did that post for you about show sold, and I see a lot of people type in, how do I find completed sale prices on it, like that. And so I can see traffic that way, but I only really see who's there if they comment. And so it kind of forces you to try to make an engaging post that people want to reply to.
Awesome. How long have you been blogging, Shannon?
I was trying to think about that. I think not long after I started on Etsy and started doing this, when my first son was born and I started doing this more full time. I think it was right around then. So probably 2008 or so, 2009. I don't know exactly. Like I said, it was back on Blogger. It was completely different than what I do now, but it's fun.
So
it's
either my go ahead.
I was just going to say, it kind of turns into like a little journal of thrifting. You know, I mean, it's the same thing with, you know, so much has turned to video now and everything, but it's kind of a place when I can't remember what I found or where I found it. I can just type into my search bar on my blog and, oh yeah, that's right, I found that at an estate sale or something like that. And
that's
all my
awesome.
pictures are still there.
Yeah, so it kind of provides you with your own personal record too. That's great. Yeah.
If I keep up with it.
Yeah, so I'm just scrolling. I'm scrolling through your blog right now just to show everybody the Recycle-ista.com.
And I have a newsletter too, so I do some other different topics on the newsletter, so everyone can feel free to sign up for the newsletter. I don't do it very often, so you won't get spammed a lot.
I do like the matching what they call them, wedding sets, the vintage Hawaiian. That's very cool.
Oh yeah, that's awesome.
And you do listing challenges, and you got tons of great photos. Oh, that's right. Yeah, this was your that was your bracelet. I think you posted this picture in the group.
Oh, the blue,
yeah, that was a great picture.
Yeah, the carved one.
Yeah, that one right there. Yeah, these are great photos. Definitely, you're definitely thinking outside the box. I mean, you're thinking like a fashion person. You're not thinking like a typical eBay seller. So I think that's impressive as hell.
Yeah, I think her photos are great for Etsy too, because they're very creative.
Yeah,
and kind of, you know, and you get that. That's what I love. That's why I want to start on my million list of to do things again, like I mentioned before. Yeah, that's you know, I'm an artist at heart. So you know, I am an artist. So at heart, like I love those, you know, those awesome like kind of staged pictures with the cool backgrounds. And,
and that's definitely on the blog. I talk a lot about some of the tips for selling on Etsy, and that's one of the main things, because Etsy is full of artists and creators. Then you need to have eye candy for them too, because they're shopping on Etsy as well. And so your pictures kind of have to have just a little bit of a different angle or just something to make them stand out more. So that's definitely, I take my pictures differently for Etsy than I do for eBay. That's for sure.
So do you sell more on Etsy than you do eBay, or?
No, I wouldn't say so. I would never probably give up eBay. eBay is still where I make most of my money. There's certain months where Etsy will get really close, and But I mean, I'm at a thrift store all the time, so I pick up whatever I can flip. So when I have new stuff, it goes on eBay. Some vintage stuff goes on eBay. Things I think might need an auction. And then Etsy, I just kind of, it's always changing. Not long ago, I had 5 different Etsy shops going.
Whoa.
And
Wow.
I know, exactly. And eBay. But my husband was doing it with me, and he started his own business. And so the beginning of the year, he's been really busy with that. So since his shops were just sitting, and you really need to keep them active in order to get sales, we ended up just kind of putting them on vacation, and I'm slowly moving the stuff into I have 2 shops right now. So one's vintage sewing patterns, and one is everything else. So it's kind of getting very eclectic in there. But you know, I like,
So,
yeah.
This picture of these Austria Open. It's amazing. It's one of the things I tell people: when you have multiple items like this, they don't have to be in a straight line left to right. Throwing them at this angle where it kind of disappears in the background is so awesome. I love this picture. Your eye and your thought process is amazing.
Thank you.
And we do have a question. So while let me scroll back up to where the question pertains to. It was in your blog here. And so Stacy says, specific question: does she use a specific WordPress plugin to get her pictures like that? My pictures are inserted but not grouped like this.
Okay, let me see what picture.
So it's the grouping of like the 9 of the bracelet, the earrings.
Oh, no, I just use Picasa for that.
Oh, so you create it in Picasa and then you upload it as one photo.
Yeah, and then just uploaded it into the blog. Yeah, I just made a collage.
See, easy peasy.
Yeah, PicMonkey does the same thing, I guess, but yeah.
And so, so when you blog, do you said you almost quit a few times. Do you say, all right, I'm going to blog a certain amount of hours a week, or every Tuesday morning I'm going to sit down and do it, or do you just do it when it happens?
I usually just do it when it happens. I would love to be a scheduled type of person, but sometimes I get these ideas where I'm going to do like, okay, Mid-Century Monday, but then I don't like to commit to that because then I have to do a Mid-Century Monday post every Monday. And so I just kind of go very loosey-goosey with it. And it depends. Like, yeah, I mean, we all know I can make money flipping things and selling them online. I don't make a ton of money with my blog. I would love to change that. As you build readership and things like that, there's different options you can do to monetize your blog. But I want to do that slowly because I don't want to lose any integrity as far as, I don't want it to be just about that. It's about the vintage, and it's about learning about vintage and the research and the stuff we find and this whole reselling life kind of thing. So I do have a section in there on, tips on selling on Etsy. And I have that shows right now, mostly this month, I've just focused on that listing challenge. And we can all buy faster than we can list. And so I was trying to work on my part of it this month. So, but, I have different ideas, different series of things of, just kind of the history of some of the vintage that we come across. But.
Very cool. So what?
Go ahead, Nay.
Yes, and I apologize again. It's the early time with my kids. So do you sell a lot of vintage clothing or more vintage? I see a lot of kind of housewares.
Yes. I'm not a big clothing seller, even on eBay. I used to do more clothing. I lived in North Carolina, and the thrifts they were full of clothing, and it was cheaper. And out here in Washington, the clothing's a little bit more expensive. And I can just find so much other stuff besides clothing that I don't do a lot of vintage clothing. I do a lot of housewares. I do a lot of flatware. Vintage flatware seems to do pretty well on there. I do regular current flatware on eBay, but and so yeah, I kind of like the I don't know, off the radar kind of vintage stuff. It seems to be more interesting to me, you know. In the finds when we
you definitely
yeah,
have
I was
your
just gonna
niche
say,
there. Yeah, that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, a little bit of everything.
Yeah, but it seems it's like that kind of mid-century. It looks like you're the mid-century modern kind of kitschy houseware stuff. Like
and I would love to do
seems...
like I've seen different blogs and different Etsy shops that are all mid-century, and I would love to do that, but I think I'm too. I mean, it's a mixed blessing. I'm out in the boonies, about an hour outside of Seattle. So there's mid-century stuff out here, but not a lot of it. But there's not a lot of competition for it either. So that's good. But I couldn't just rely only on finding the Scandinavian or the mid-century stuff. So I just find it here and there when I can.
And Tiki mugs, you got any for me? Any Tiki mugs for me?
Well, you helped me sell one on Etsy. So I sold that Otani or that, you know, whatever, that one.
Okay.
But I think that was the last one that I found.
All right. Well, you got to find me some more. I want to buy from you.
Okay.
I don't know if you saw my post today in the group, but man, I've sold so many.
Yeah, you've been selling a bunch.
It's and a lot of those mugs have sat for a long time, and then it's been one after another. So obviously, this is the time of year people are buying Tiki mugs.
Yeah.
All right. So how long you been on eBay?
On eBay, let's see. Wow, 2004 maybe. Maybe early.
All right,
yeah.
So one of the early
2004,
ones.
2005. Yeah.
Now, how do you determine what to list on Etsy versus eBay? I assume some of it is searching completeds and solds and to see what does better on what platform, but is there anything else that helps you decide?
Well, some of it's age, some of it's just the, if something I think needs a bigger audience, I mean, hands down, eBay has a bigger audience. And so if I think it'll move a little bit quicker, I'll put it on eBay. There are certain things I can get better prices for on Etsy than I can on eBay, just because the crowd is different. Some of it is like I was saying I like to, you know, if the item lends itself towards an interesting picture, I'll put it on Etsy because it fits the look of my shop. So it's maybe more of an aesthetic thing. But I don't know. Sometimes, I mean, there's stuff on Etsy that has been on there too long. I just need to move it over to eBay and see if I can, you know, and maybe vice versa. Sometimes we just switch things back and forth. I don't do a lot of double listing. I know a lot of people do, but it's just easier for me to keep track. Sometimes even when I'm buying for Etsy and I'm buying for eBay. I have it kind of a specific where I'm going to put it when I buy it in mind when I'm shopping too. So
you've never been ballsy. You've never been ballsy enough to, you know, say you got a $500 item. You've never been ballsy enough to put it on both.
Put it on both.
At the same time.
I have that, but then I have sticky notes like everywhere. Like if this sells, it's also on Amazon or it's also on here or wherever. But
yeah, I'll do that with very expensive items that I know are not going to be fast sellers.
Yeah.
So that most people are seeing it because it hasn't happened yet. But you know, if you got a $500 rare CD, there's not that many customers. So as soon as it sells, you're right though. You got to remember, get it off.
Right, get it quick. Yeah.
Have you had something sell? Have you pulled something from Etsy or pulled something from eBay and put it on the other platform to have it sell very quickly?
What's that? Can you say that again?
Have you had something, for example, on Etsy and, you know, it's been on there for so long and you decided to pull it and put it on and list it on eBay instead and then had it sell on the other platform really quickly?
Yeah, that happens. I think it's just kind of a fresh set of eyes or a fresh, you know, audience, or sometimes you change the price a little bit or, you know, something about it. You just kind of, you know, even if it's redoing the pictures. Sometimes I just do that, you know, like we do with eBay listings. We'll do that with Etsy. It's like, okay, these pictures were on this old backdrop. I don't do that anymore. So let me redo all the pictures so that it fits the shop again.
I think that always helps to refresh your listing, and sometimes that makes it so. Yeah.
We actually have a question from our studio audience. Hang on a second.
Okay.
So my question is international. Do you sell more international on Etsy versus eBay, or is it about the same?
Great question.
You know, I would say probably more international on Etsy. It's dropped down a little bit since the international prices went up. It was that earlier this year when that, especially first class kind of jumped up quite a bit. And so that's kind of dropped a little bit. But yeah, especially in my vintage sewing pattern shop, I sell a lot to Australia, New Zealand, and things like that, Japan.
Awesome.
But yeah.
Wow.
Good questions to the audience. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Robin. That was a great question.
She's like whispering in my ear. She's like, ask her about international. It's the whole point of having a live studio audience. You can ask her yourself. Hey, so how many listings altogether do you have on Etsy right now, approximately?
On Etsy, I think I was close. I'm trying to get to 200 on the main shop, so just 170 or something right now. I have probably about 100 in my sewing pattern shop, but I also have my husband's shop. He has probably 100 listings. I got to move over. And then we also had a ephemera shop that's just totally on hold right now because nobody has time for it. And then we had a vintage hardware shop. And we'll probably work on moving that stuff slowly. I just put a category for that in my main Etsy shop, and we'll move those, you know, cabinet drawer pulls and all that kind of stuff. Those actually do really well. So we'll have to work on that.
I don't think you mentioned this. And if you did, I apologize for missing it. Do you guys do it together? Do you have other jobs? Does your husband have a job?
We did. My husband, he's a general contractor, carpenter, and he was working for someone, and so he would do, you know, in the evenings, weekends. He loves thrifting too, so we would do that together. And then he started an Etsy shop. It wasn't necessarily guy stuff, but it was definitely more masculine flavored, even though most of his customers were women. I think they were buying gifts for husbands and boyfriends and things like that. But I think it was his photography is very different. His approach is very different. And the stuff he chooses may be a little bit more masculine flavored, like I said. And I think that's an under-tapped, you know, niche on Etsy. I think, you know, a lot of that, you know, vintage radios and calculators and things like that do really well there. They go pretty quick. His shop just took off. When he did it, it just took off. But yeah, now he works for himself. He doesn't really have a whole lot of time, but we'll see. Maybe this winter when things slow down a little bit, it's always good for filling in.
We have another question from the chat.
Okay.
Is it better to have different stores for different items or just different categories in one store?
You can do it either way. I've done it both ways. I don't know. There's some ideas that maybe your Etsy shop can actually get too big, and you know, then I don't know, visibility drops down or something like that, or it's just harder for people to scroll through because, you know, search is not as good on Etsy as eBay. But the hard part when you have it separated, like I like having the sewing pattern separate because it's a very specific niche that people, you know, that's what they want. They want sewing patterns. And I mean, I throw notions and things like that in there too. But I don't know. You can do it either way. I mean, you can have a category and just kind of mix things up, but it's just you need to give it the full attention if you have it separated out. Otherwise,
makes sense.
You know, you got to list every day, or else you won't be seen.
That's the truth.
All right, cool. Well, let's. We're almost at the top of the hour, so let's get to your scores and your duds.
Okay.
Because you got some cool stuff here. Actually, let me get it up on the big screen. There we go. Okay, so your first score here is this sexy little chair here.
Oh, this is my funny story. Okay, so this was my, I put this on, I mentioned, I thought of this one because this was a sale I made through my blog. I found this chair and I posted about it because finding Danish modern furniture in my little town is kind of rare. And I think I paid, it was like half off day on furniture. So I paid like $2.50. So this chair has a made in Denmark plaque underneath it. It was Madsen or something like that. I don't have it in front of me. But anyway, I blogged about it and I think I put it on eBay for local pickup, but nothing happened. But it had expired and it wasn't listed anywhere. And I got an email through my blog from a guy and he wanted to know if the chair was available. And he was in California. And so his name was so interesting and it was like such a stage name that I Googled him because I needed to know. I didn't know. I was just curious. Anyway, I was nosy. But anyway, his name was Omar Doom. And so I looked him up and he was an actor in Hollywood. And I mean, I'm going to say not very well known, but he wasn't very well known to me because I had never seen anything he was in. He was in the movie with Brad Pitt one time. I don't know. But anyway.
This one time.
This one time. So anyway, he wanted the chair. So we emailed back and forth. I had never shipped a piece of furniture before. And so I gave him the FedEx prices and they were high and they were everything. And so finally I researched Greyhound. It got me to do that. And I found out that Tacoma had a depot and I could do that. And so we settled on a price. I think it was like $150 with shipping. And Greyhound from Seattle down to California in LA, it was only like $40, $35 or something like that. And so he was willing, he just had to go to his depot and pick it up. And so I guess he did. I never heard from him again, but he bought this chair. He needed this chair, I guess.
Maybe he died.
With a name like Doom.
Yeah.
But anyway, so yeah, I'm assuming the chair got to him okay. But
very cool.
But anyway, that was kind of funny. And that was all through the blog. So
very cool.
All right, you got this cute Polaroid, this pink Polaroid.
Oh
yeah.
Super cute. Super cute.
Yeah, I think that was just a yard sale find, $5 or something like that. I don't know. I lose track of where I find stuff, but I knew it was a good color, and I put it a little bit higher than some of the ones that were on there. Some people had some really high prices on their pink Polaroids, but I knew it wouldn't take long, and so it went pretty quickly.
And it sold for $74. Very nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
And then this is something I'm like, what is this? And then I read it. I'm like, oh, I don't know if I even would have paid attention to that.
Is that the easel thing?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's just kind of an example. It's not the best sale I've ever had, obviously, but it's just kind of an example of the under the radar vintage that I was talking about that I like. So like if I go to an estate sale, I let everybody go in and fight over the dishes and the whatever, the big names or whatever, and I'll go into like the office. And, the estate sale company has the guy's stuff on the guy's desk for 25 cents or whatever. So like I sold a vintage stapler, little handheld stapler for like $15 the other day. And it's just that little stuff that you'd be surprised. Like I listed this today. It's just this plastic desk organizer, bright yellow. I've sold 2 of these before for $18 a piece, but it's the type of stuff that the people who are pricing are always they're gonna overlook, so they're just gonna, oh, that's $1, that's 50 cents, whatever. But people want it, they want that the stuff that's made better back in the day, you know. So that was just when I saw it, that was from Goodwill. It was an easel document holder kind of thing. It was really cool. And, you know, on Etsy, we get a lot of prop people shopping for a lot of the different shows and stuff like that. So I knew it would go. And it went really quickly.
And then I think while I'm looking for that, this was one of your duds.
That's a dud.
Did we lose Shannon?
No, I'm here.
No, she's
What
here.
am I looking at? I'm sorry, I can't see this. I can't see what's showing.
Oh, okay.
So.
I'm sorry. It is the relish condiment.
Oh yeah, I don't know. I heard a thing about gold flatware, and that does well. And I found this, and I thought, oh, this is perfect. Somebody's holiday table, or just, you know, it's gold. It's cool. It's mid-century, and I've had that thing for like 3 or 4 years listed, and nobody wants it. So it might just have to go on. I don't know. It's just gonna have to go on eBay, and I'll see if I can move it that way.
It's really cute too.
I think it's cool, but.
And I guess not all Pyrex is created equal.
Not all Pyrex is created equal. I thought having the little cradle thingy there would be awesome, but nobody wants that either. I just moved that to eBay. So, but you know, the prices it's going for on eBay, I was like, you know, by the time my husband packages this up, it's not worth the time hardly. So.
Right.
So we'll see. I'll give it through the next couple months, and then it might get redonated, or I'll just use it or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I see you using it on Christmas.
It's cute.
Here's my souffle.
I can use it.
Cool. Well, Shan, thank you so much for coming on. We're at the top of the hour. So Recycle-ista blog, and I noticed that's your name throughout. Well, on eBay, it's Recycle, Reuse, Renew with dashes in between. And an exclamation point. Boy, you're making it tough there.
That was from a long time ago.
But good to see you're a top-rated seller. And then I wanted to share one thing before we scoot on out of here into the night. And I made a little video for Nadine, so we play the video. So hang on a quick second there.
I get all warm and fuzzy.
Oh, warm and fuzzy.
I know.
So there we go. All right, and here we go. What's happening? It's Jason T. Smith, America's #1 thrifter, and this is where I'm happiest. In a thrift store, I can conquer any section of this thrift store. I know what I'm doing. I've bought it all. I've sold it all. I'm the man. I know most of the sections in this thrift store. Videos, got it. CDs, that's my bread and butter. Look, $20 CD, $2. What a deal. Cassettes, I know my cassettes. Records, I've sold millions. Games, got those too. I know the media section. Knickknacks and tchotchkes, I know those too. Men's clothes, I got that covered. Jeans are the bomb. I know my jeans. Hats, I know my hats. Look at this particular hat right here. I know t-shirts, I know pants, I know button-down shirts, I know sweaters. Pretty much, I got the men's clothing covered. Good as I am, and I am good, there are a few sections I stink at. Linen is one of them. I don't know what to do in this section, but also, more so, the pattern and yarn section. This is where I get the willies and I get lost. Is this good? I don't know. Is that good? I don't know. Is that good yarn? Is this good string? I don't know. I know my plush. I find tons of good plush. I know toys. I know games. But what I don't know, where you'll never find me, you kids' clothes. Yeah. Now this is a girly section I am comfortable in. Purses. I love finding me some purses like this little bitch and Nick and Nora little makeup handbag. But over here, I don't know. I did not marry a girly girl. I don't know what's good over here. All right, here's another girly section I am comfortable in. The PJ robe section. I can find robes. I can do PJs. Bras, forget about it. I'm the king of selling bras and buying bras. One day I bought 82 bras from this Savers alone, so I know my bras. However, once we leave the comfort of this aisle, the rest of this girly stuff, I don't know, man. That's where I get lost. And I could look forever and not know what to pick out. but I know who does know, and that's Nadine. So if you are watching this video, you are maybe thinking about taking Nate's girly class, take it. She will teach you all this and more. And when I thrift with her, I'm amazed at the stuff I leave behind because I just ignore the girly stuff. Some of it I do, some of it I don't. So take her class, you will not be sorry. I promise you that. Take it from me, Jason T. Smith. There you go, Nate's first commercial. Yay.
I love it. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. So Nate's class is coming up a week from Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Billy, or is it Monday? Monday. A week from Monday.
Monday the 28th. This Monday.
Monday the 28th.
Yeah.
Yes. So, fellas, Nate's got a class full of ladies that need a fella to go because if you want to learn to be better, you need to conquer all sections. And I see Nate do linens and dresses and especially shoes and boots. And I'm like, crap, I'm leaving all that good stuff behind. So check out Nate's class. You can hit us up. You can find it on the Thrifty Business with J and A fan page. You can find it in the group, the Thrifting board group, or you can just message Nadine on Facebook and she'll give you all the details.
Yep,
so thank you everyone for tuning in live.
And one thing, your mom asked who your photographer was. Thank you. A very special shout out to Vicki Egan because our friend Vicki was filmed that whole thing. And thank you so much, Vicki, for doing that. That was awesome. Great job.
Oh, they expected more clapping from you after the video.
Yeah.
No. So, Shannon, thank you very much for coming on. You can find Shannon on her blog and all over the Thrifting board. She's always around. Thank you, Nate. Thank you, everyone who tuned in live. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And next week, we'll be back on our Wednesday night slot, back to our normal time, 6 o'clock. And we're going to have Andy Slamans, who was going to be our guest last week. He'll be on next week. He's going to talk about private labeling, FBA, and what it's like to be internet famous because Andy is internet famous. So we're going to talk about that next week. So everyone, go have a good Thanksgiving. Enjoy your family. Enjoy your friends. And we'll see you all next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Shannon.